In this CineGuru tutorial, we'll take a look at how to use static cameras. So first let's go over and add a new entity and navigate to your CineGuru folder. Yours might be in a different place to mine, depending on whether you bought it through the TGC store or through Steam. And here are the CineGuru marker entities. We'll click on camera marker and click OK. Let's just zoom in a little bit. We'll add a camera marker to our level, click it, go to properties, and let's take a look at what we're presented with. So as with pretty much everything in CineGuru, the name of the entity is a set of instructions to define what the entity does. And we've helped here by putting in a few kind of different pointers. So first off, we have to give our camera a name. So we're going to call it camera 1, something nice and simple. Then we have to tell it how long the shot is going to last, and that's in milliseconds. So film time is milliseconds. So let's say if we type in 6,000, that's a 6-second shot from this camera 1. Fade time is a fade in from black at the start of the shot. So if we were to type in 1000, that's a 1-second fade in from black at the start of the shot. And then we've got these two values, FOV start and FOV end. So this defines your field of view or your focal length if you were talking real cameras. So if we were to type in, for example, 120, so that's quite a wide field of view, and then at the end 100, what that means is over the course of the 6 seconds of this shot, the frame of view is going to start at 120 degrees and it's going to push in and kind of zoom in almost to 100. It's quite a subtle zoom in, it's not that much of a change, but you will notice it. And the final field is this next camera field. We'll leave that blank for now. In fact, we can actually delete it altogether. The script is smart enough to recognize if there's nothing after that final comma, it will just ignore it and move on. So let's click Apply Changes. And we'll just move up our camera slightly. And let's drop in something for the camera to actually look at. We'll pick something simple like a barrel. So here's our barrel. Just pop that there. Make sure it roughly, yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. And we need to trigger this camera somehow. So we're going to go back to CineGuru and we're going to drop in a cine-trigger zone. Now we'll cover these in more detail later on. For now, all you need to know is that these can be used to trigger cinematics and actors. And we're going to keep it simple for this example and just use it to trigger our camera. So if we go into properties, again, the name of the zone specifies what it actually does. So first off, we need to tell it what type of trigger zone it is. And in this case, it's a camera trigger zone. It triggers cameras. And the camera that it's going to trigger is camera 1, which is the camera we just put in. And I think just to make this a little bit easier to see when we're actually in the game, I'm just going to drop a little bit of sand underneath the zone just so I can see where it is. And if we drop in our player start marker and hit test game and walk into this little patch of sand, you'll see that it triggers our camera. It'll be a 6-second shot from a static camera position. So here we go. And there's our little zoom in as well. That's changing the focal length from 120 to 100 over the course of the 6 seconds. And there was a little fade in from black, as I said. Now let's say we wanted to add another camera position. So again, let's just drag in another camera entity and we'll put it off to the side this time. And let's have this one kind of up quite high. These camera markers will actually take rotation data as well. So you can actually use the widget to rotate them to whatever sort of orientation you need. So I'm just going to point this one down. So this is now kind of up high looking down on this barrel. And I might want to move that across slightly. It will do pitch, yaw and roll. So you can influence exactly how your shot looks. Okay, and again, if we go to properties, we'll name this camera accordingly. So let's call this one camera 2. And this will be a shorter shot, I think. Let's make this 4 seconds. So that's 4,000 because it's 4,000 milliseconds. We won't have a fade on the beginning of this shot. And I think we'll keep the focal length the same throughout. So let's keep it at 90 and 90. And again, there's no next camera. But I need to make sure that CineGuru knows that once it's finished with our first camera, it cuts to our second camera. So I will go back into the properties of camera 1, and I'll just add the name of our next camera on the end, so it knows to cut to that camera at the end of camera 1's shot. Okay, and that's the only change we need to make. So if I go into test game now, hopefully when we enter that little patch of sand, you'll see that as before, we have our shot 1, which is 6 seconds, fade in from black, a little bit of a zoom, and then we cut to shot 2, which is kind of a high angle shot looking down. There's no zooming. And that's how you do static cameras in CineGuru.